Hello, this is the Tropic Pianist Gamers podcast, episode 26. The title of the podcast is A Merry Musical Christmas, and I've got special guests with me today, Catherine Henderson. Catherine, hi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name's Catherine and I run Little Mozarts, which is baby and toddler classes for musicians that want to be musicians.
Cool. So, could you give me a little bit of your background story of where you started and how you came to make Little Mozarts?
I can. So I actually am a qualified high school music teacher. And I left my head of music post when I had my daughter. She's now 12. And I then went on to be a private music teacher where I taught singing and piano and flute. I then joined the music service and I still work for music service now. And I've been doing that for the last 6 years. So teaching piano, singing and classroom music as well. And I've basically come down through the ages from 18 to mostly primary with the music service. And then more so as I've had more children of my own, I've gone into baby and toddlers because I really believe in the benefits of music for children. And that literally starts it before they're even born.
Amazing. So, that kind of leads into your why. Why did you decide to go down that path?
It was a mixture of things. Partly my own children, partly just knowing how good music is for everybody.
Definitely.
It's so soothing in those early days, isn't it? And as children get older, they engage and can engage so much more easily in music than they can in a conversation where you're talking. You actually get more reaction from children with music, and they can communicate more easily with music than they can with speech.
I always say music's a language anyway, so yeah, that corresponds.
It's a whole other language, but you don't need to speak the language to engage in it, do you?
It's universal.
So it is, yeah. So yeah, and I think that's largely why I did it. Yeah.
Cool. So you've got Little Mozarts, but there's other music kind of similar setups that I know about. So like Moo Music is one. What sets you apart as Little Mozarts?
Okay. Well, I actually am a musician and I actually am a music teacher. I haven't just bought a franchise. This is my own business. I've set up myself. I don't answer to anybody, but in that, because of that, it means I really can focus on teaching music, things like the elements of music, which are much, much neglected by every other system and class that I know. And yeah, it is fundamental to how we engage with music. If we talk about dynamics, singing things softly and singing things loudly, well, you wouldn't sing loud to a baby, would you? It's a fundamental importance of music, and yet it's something that all the other classes just fail to teach. It's something the schools fail to teach.
I've noticed that, yeah.
Even though it's in the curriculum, and then we wonder why children aren't learning instruments. I know from the music service, we have numbers are growing again, but we have no children learning orchestral instruments really these days. They just want to learn piano, drums, guitar, and that's it. And it's really, really sad that children aren't exposed to a wide variety of styles. And I think a lot of that is because people don't know where to start. Yeah. So if we give them a really good, well-supported start, then their
the foundations, yeah,
and their children's experience is going to be so much more improved or more worthy. And we can then, when you talk about the elements of music like dynamics, pitch, tempo, you can then engage in a more informed discussion about what you've heard or how it made you feel. And I just feel that some of the classes, I'm not going to mention any names, but some of the classes focus on props. I have some props in my class, but they're not the main thing that I think my class is about, but they are enjoyed by parents. The focus of every session is one of the elements of music in my class. I do that because I know how important they are as a musician and as a teacher.
Definitely.
So
So since this is the Christmas episode and my solo episode was about memories of being in a youth orchestra, how was your experience of Christmas concerts growing up?
Oh my word. I think I was literally in everything. I was
So,
in, I was in the church choir. I was the church soloist. I was the school soloist. I got picked out of assembly to be soloist. I was in the school orchestra. I was in the county orchestra, the county choir. I was in four counties orchestra, four counties choir. I was literally in everything. And I often say I've often said to pupils of mine that I've come through and they struggle with their sight reading, I never struggled with sight reading because I was always playing or singing music. I
yeah, I
never
think it's the
struggled
same for me.
never struggled with my music theory because I constantly was surrounded by it. And so those skills that they have to work really hard at their sight reading these days, um, I never found it hard because I just was always around it. I was just doing it all the time. If you think about like learning to read with your child, well, if your child only ever reads to the teacher in school, they're going to find it so much harder than
Yeah.
if they're reading at home with you and they're reading on their own. And the more you're exposed, the easier it is, isn't it? So yeah, Christmas was, I think, probably the biggest challenge for my parents, taking us here, there, and everywhere,
Yeah.
because we just performed in everything, my brother and I. So yeah, it was lots of running around and lots of toast dinners because that was all there was time for.
So
My
yeah,
poor.
with your growing up around being surrounded by music, I've got to ask, do you yourself or did you know anyone who had perfect pitch? Because I've obviously got perfect pitch which helps me with my sight reading. Can you relate?
Yeah. Yes. So people could say, oh, sing a C. Yes, yes, you can sing a C. Generally, middle C is the easiest note to find, isn't it? It's also a really easy one to sing, isn't it? Perfect pitch, or I mean, is it important? I don't know. What do you think?
It was in lockdown that it helped me because I had to rely on bad camera setup, so I had to rely on my audio abilities to hear what was going on, and I could tell when people were playing wrong notes then.
Yes.
But other than that, it's just a bonus, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, to me, I would say having a good understanding and knowledge and being able to feel the beat and keep a steady beat are actually more important than perfect pitch. So many children now in my classes in school, like when we do summer school and things, they haven't got a clue what the beat is. Couldn't even tell me what the beat is, and that's really sad because that's like lesson one, isn't it?
I've got a mix in my sort of classes. Well, I teach all one-to-one, and some of them count, some of them don't. But I play by ear myself. But I've got a good sense of meter, but I don't technically count either. So I'm one of those weird ones.
Ooh.
I was a string player first. That's my excuse.
That's not an excuse.
Yeah, so
That's not good enough. That's the teacher in me that would say that's not good enough. I'd be writing them. I'd be
well,
writing the
obviously I teach my kids to count because I know how counting works. But when I'm sight reading, I can hear what it sounds like before I play it, so I know what to expect. Unless it's like Rachmaninoff off Chopin, that's a bit beyond me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah.
it's like if it's a well-known pop song and I know how it goes, I don't need to count because I know how it goes. If that makes sense. So
Yeah, but that's
cheating
a skill
slightly.
that you have. The children you teach won't necessarily have.
Yes.
And I think that's, as a teacher, it's that, well, I can do it. Why can't they do it? I'm working that out. And that is the skill of a
Yeah.
teacher, isn't it?
Being relatable as well. Like if they really struggle to count, I give them kind of cheat ways to do it so that they don't feel like they're inadequate as well. Because I like mine to be accessible and people can relate to what I'm saying and stuff. So
And this is where your perfect pitch probably comes in really handy. Because I find even in a piano lesson, I actually sing a lot to the children. The children sing a lot with me. So they would, for example, if they were struggling with accounting, they would sing the melody, or I would sing the melody and tap the beat.
Yeah.
And it in turns to do that. And when you take away the physicality of the fingers and they're not thinking about, oh, what fingers and what keys and what's that note again? When you take that away, all of a sudden they can find the beat and then they can hear it and internalize it. and then it actually works out a lot better then.
Yeah, it's always interesting knowing different kids' development journeys and how they develop the sense of time, how they develop the ability to read music, and yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't think I've taught the same piece the same way.
Yes, exactly. Everything's tailored and individual. So going back to the being in everything, have you got an absolute favourite memory of a concert or a funny memory that you can remember?
Or no, I don't actually. I always remember being in the orchestra, in the school orchestra, and it's not so much a funny memory, but just a weird memory. But when I went to Aries High in Colwyn Bay till I did my GCSEs, and we always did our concerts at St Paul's. So if you were in the orchestra, you had to sit around the corner of the church, and nobody would actually see you. They would hear you, but nobody would see you. And I always felt that was really strange. And because I was in all of the other ensembles, so I'd be up for solos and I'd be up in the choir, we literally would be clambering over each other to get out of the orchestra to go up to do solo, because you had to be seen if you were in the choir or the solo, but then the orchestra was, you didn't have to be seen, you just had to be heard. And I never understood that. It just seemed really strange. I don't know. How did you do your concerts?
Well, you have to listen to my solo episode, which comes out on the 10th
Right,
of December. It came out on the 10th of December.
There we go.
Yes. All my memories of being in the county orchestra and my memories of school orchestras and university orchestras you can hear them on that podcast.
Oh,
So,
no.
yes. What's your mission now in the present day?
So mission is to bring music to as many people as possible. Literally from day one, from the day they're born, bring music in their lives. From the moment you're pregnant, bring music to your child's life.
I did have piano music all through pregnancy and at the birth as well. So,
do you know what? I don't even think it needs to be an instrument. I think just hearing your voice singing a really simple tune, even just to la la la, and it doesn't
tells
even
me
have
to
to
shut
be
up now.
I'm familiar with that one. But just singing a tune, it doesn't have to be a children's tune. It can just be something you like. But hearing that from before they're born or but from day one, it's such a soothing thing for your baby that then becomes a bonding thing, doesn't it?
My mum always used to sing Wheels on the Bus while I was pregnant to my bump, and then she'd sing it to him when he was a baby. I think he's grown out of it now though, but it was nice while it lasted.
Oh, yeah, they do. They do grow up and then they tell you to stop singing.
Yeah. He'll get back into it one day. He loves singing angry Welsh songs, so at least he's got some element of wanting to sing somewhere, even if it's not quite what I imagined.
But... them out weird.
Yeah. Oh, well, Heady's the one, yes. So, okay, going forward, what's your vision for next year, 2024?
So I will be expanding my programme from just babies and toddlers into some very early piano experiences for 3 to 5 year olds, and then some early group piano lessons for 5 to 7 year olds. I have taught children as young as 4 the piano in a one-to-one setting.
Yeah.
And I find them I don't know what you think. I found them very fidgety. They struggle to focus because they're not used to working one-on-one, even in a school setting.
Yeah.
And so the social aspect of being a musician is really underestimated, I think, in terms of piano teaching anyway. I know with the other instruments, we always kind of tend to teach in groups. But piano can be such a solitary instrument, can't it? I have lots of pianists over the years that won't play anywhere apart from my studio, and that's it. They don't want to play anywhere, and it's so sad that they don't want to share that, all their hard work as well. So it becoming more of a social experience, I feel, will improve any games that we play. It will help their learning, their memory. It will help their recall. That's memory again, isn't it?
Yeah.
It will just transform the experience of learning an instrument and make it a much more engaging experience, I feel. I've always played lots of games in my lessons with the younger pupils, and I do feel that on a one-to-one basis, it can quite easily become that you just play, it's just a game. But actually, it's not just a game, you know. We used to play a really good one with dinosaur rubbers, where we'd chase T-Rex would chase the different dinosaur around the piano. And actually, it wasn't about the T-Rex eating whatever the other dinosaurs at the end. It was learning the patterns of the music of the piano. So learning landmark notes, learning note spacings, learning, well, what's that note? Are we moving by steps? Are we moving by jumps? And when you put children doing that together, it just makes it exciting and fun, which I think that's got to do a lot for a child's learning experience, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, mine are all one-to-one, but I did try and teach a couple of kids in one room once, and they ended up falling out with each other by the end of the term, so that didn't last very long.
Oh dear.
Oops. That was a few years ago, though. I wasn't quite confident enough to be the authority there, but I've learned since then. Life experience helps.
Definitely, yeah. And of course, my background is classroom, so I guess I'm used to that one. And I've got 3 of my own children, who are constantly trying to fight fires with
chaos. So, you got to be prepared, though. Yeah. So cool. Chaos. So, if anyone wanted to find you, where can we find you? Online, in person, both?
So both, yeah. So I've got a website, Little Mozarts. You can just Google Little Mozarts, to be honest, and it should come up. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not sure how I feel about TikTok still. It's not, I don't know. Do you do TikTok?
I'm on it, but I'm not very good at it.
I don't know. I've just got into Reels this last sort of 6 months with Instagram, and I've been really enjoying creating some Reels, actually, but that's about as far as I've got really with the whole video content.
I'm going to be putting some more Reels on my Instagram. That's my sort of idea for 2024, because I realise that people can use my Reels as their audio backing, but you can't do it from a live, so that's something I want to work on in the future.
Yeah, it's good.
I really extend to TikTok, technically.
Yeah, I enjoy the creative side of social media. I do enjoy and ideas. And it's nice sharing what you do, isn't it, on a wider platform than just your class. So, yeah.
Cool. So, thanks for being a guest on my podcast today. It's been a really lovely conversation.
Oh, you're welcome.
And
thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And Merry Christmas to everyone out there who's listened before Christmas. And if it's after Christmas, I hope you had a good Christmas. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.